television is one of the major means of communication that we use today. And as a matter of fact, during the Olympics, how many of you watched the Olympic Games? Even in the US? Yeah? What I noticed in the US is that they were only showing when US had a good chance of winning, not just an impartial approach to the Olympic Games. Beijing 2008 was at that time the most watched TV program ever. Then, when London 2012 happened, it was the most watched media content ever. But they didn't mention that it was the most TV content watched ever, because most of the content was actually watched on tablets and on second screens. So some of the industry leaders were asking, well, is it that TV is becoming a competition with the IT world, or the tablets, or the smartphones, or even regular computers? And that, for many TV producers, they feel that this is competition. They feel that this is a new layer of content that is jeopardizing their regular work. Well, I want to suggest that it is not. I want to suggest that it is all complementary. This is typically my wife when she watches a TV program. She'll watch maybe a cooking program on TV, but she'll have her iPad out, and she'll be looking at all the extra information about that particular cooking program on her iPad. So what is that whole concept of second screen anyway? Well, the whole concept of second screen is to use an additional monitor, could be a tablet or smartphone, while watching TV. Often the eyeballs are going back and forth between watching the TV screen and watching or interacting with a tablet, right? So on top of being an additional monitor, it is also a device for interaction. It allows a user to contribute to that particular event or show. You guys are contributing to this event here by tweeting, and it shows up on the screens live as you're tweeting. So that's giving you that layer of interactivity to things. Looking at some of the TV series out there that have really marketed it this well, Grey's Anatomy, a popular show in the US, uses this in a very interesting way. While you're watching the TV program, the TV series, your app that follows the program tells you all about what you're watching now. So who are the actors, extra information about the actors. It even allows you it integrates layers of social networking to this. So if you're really keen about a particular series that you're watching, you can tweet about it, you can Facebook engage with your other friends. So if you are and this is, by the way, one of the best kind of advertisement. If a friend of yours tells you that this particular petrol station in the US, where is Costin, if a particular gas station or petrol station in the US is really good, next time I'm in the US, even if I don't need to fill up my petrol tank, I'll stop there, right? Because a friend told me about it. And so they're maximizing here the possibility of using your friends to advertise that TV show by integrating social networking to this. There are quite a lot of other companies that are using it. National Geographic is very popular at using this. But here's a little video clip of how a family tends to use social networking and second screen to interact together.
We watch TV together all the time. We're always curious about what we're watching.
Hey, Bobby, what episode of Pawn Stars is this?
I'm not sure. We have Umami for our iPad, and it's awesome. It listens to whatever we're watching, and then gives us all these cool kinds of info about the show, the stars, and other related stuff. This is the one with the document signed by John Hancock.
Do you know who he was, Bobby?
He signed the Declaration of Independence.
Wasn't it the Constitution? Let me see that. What do you know?
Umami tells us what's buzzing online about our favorite celebs and gives us the latest dirt from all over the web, live while we watch.
I absolutely love Leah Michelle.
Did you see the dress she wore at the Glee 3D premiere?
No, let me see.
And with Umami, you can see live social feeds from Facebook and Twitter, or share things about what you're watching with your friends.
Whoa, someone just tweeted that the Glee cast is going back on tour. I'm so tweeting this.
And Umami is a step ahead. The Smart Search pulls up stuff you might like about an episode while you're watching, and then gives you all the links you need to dive deeper into a show.
What are you watching?
Top Chef All-Stars is on. One of the chefs mentioned has a restaurant in our area. I want to go.
Oh, check out this menu. I'm making a reservation.
Umami is
All right, you get the idea. But you see how a second screen suddenly gives us a much higher level of integration of the video content that you're able to produce. It's something that if we could integrate that in our sermons, that'd be pretty cool. But we'll get to that later on, all right? Looking at media consumptions in Europe, and this is a report from the BBC for the fourth quarter of 2013, I found something very interesting. Obviously, they broadcast on linear radio, on the internet as a live stream, on linear television, like satellite and so on, and on-demand TV. But throughout the day, do you see how the propagation of these different mediums change? Early morning, radio is most popular because people are in their cars driving back and forth. They're not going to be watching TV at that time. And then by the evening, by 9 p.m., 10 p.m. or so, there's a hike in the linear TV. And then what catches up is on-demand TV, right? On-demand TV, for those who live in the UK here, is the BBC iPlayer type of interface, where people just didn't have the time to watch something at the time that it was proposed by the TV company, and they can catch up and watch that later on. So these are the dynamics that we're seeing here in consumer trends. There are three modes, basically, of how people use multi-screen. The first one is a sequential use. You may have seen an advertisement on TV of a car, and then, or you may have a pop-up ad on your smartphone. Then that drives you to later on going on that website and interacting or purchasing a car. Well, maybe not a car, but it's a call to action. That's the first mode of multi-screening, which is not synchronous. The second one is a simultaneous use. So you're probably watching a football match on TV, or a soccer match for the Americans with us, and while that is going on, you are booking a flight, a plane ticket, to go to the next GAiN conference, which is going to be in Germany in 2 weeks. Yeah. So that's the second mode of using multi-screen. The third one is it's contemporary usage, and it is related to what you're seeing on TV. So if you're seeing something and you're navigating to something related to what you're seeing on TV, that's, I think, where the interest would be for us as church media producers. How can we harness that activity in our users? Well, the activities that people typically do when they are in front of a TV and have a second screen in front of them is often emailing and just browsing the web. Well, they'd probably be on Facebook. They'll probably even play a game or searching for something. It's not very often that they're actually engaging in the exact same thing that the TV is telling them to, unless there's a particular app for that drives them to want to do this. Going back to the consumer trends here, there is an author by the name of Neil Postman who writes a few books about this whole concept. And he writes that as modern technology increases, the attention span, what does it do? It decreases. Have you noticed that in even your own lifestyle? As more and more technologies are available, your attention span to focusing on one single subject decreases. So what that turns out in the typical media use is that linear TV ends up decreasing while on-demand TV increases. Well, linear TV decreases except for some live events like sports and so on. And that definitely appeals to who we call as a Millennial Generation, those people who are born with these kinds of devices. For them, the aspect of living social is optimum in their worldview. And what we notice is that TV then doesn't anymore control 100% of our attention, but TV is not dead. Most of the customers are multitasking, and they are juggling with all kinds of different activities. Customers or consumers are keen to searching. So while you can engage your audience in being curious about something, that gets them to search on a second screen device on the topic that you're talking about. So, do you want to know how all this works? How we can create a second screen app or a second screen service? Maybe for your sermons, maybe for your church programs. There's a few ways out there. Well, the first one, which is kind of a given, is just live streaming it. Well, that's, yeah, okay, nothing new there. But there's two technologies that are prevalent in second screen generation, and that is either watermarking or fingerprinting your content. So watermarking is, think of it as a tattoo. When you generate your content, you tattoo your content, so it's hidden somewhere, but devices are able to pick up that tattoo and display information about it. While fingerprinting, you don't really bother with the media file that you've created, but you create a database somewhere that automatically identifies that data and then renders all kinds of extra information, value-added services to that. So a quick example of this is, of fingerprinting is, are you all familiar with the app Shazam, or the application Shazam?
You know when you don't know what song is playing and it's driving you crazy? With the Shazam app from the App Store, you just hold up your iPhone to the song. And in seconds, you'll know who sings it and where to get it.
So Shazam is a technology that doesn't really embed anything in each music files that are playing out there, but what it does is that it compares it to an extensive database of all of its music that it already has in a database and matches those songs and then gives you value-added services to these songs. For example, it would give you the service of purchasing that song, finding it on iTunes or on an Amazon platform somewhere, and that kind of value-added service is running by using what's called a fingerprint technology. The problem with fingerprint technology is that it does require you to have an expensive server with all these media files already stored there for it to compare. But the advantage of the watermarking solution or the technology is that you embed all that information right into your media file. It takes a little bit longer to generate that media file before you publish it, but all that content is embedded in that video file. So I think I'm just going to skip over some of some of the other examples here. So that would be, for example, a live stream event with extra content at the bottom, giving the user flexibility in choosing what they want to watch. Other modes of second screen would be freeze framing, capturing some key frames of a particular video and then putting that in an app. I think that's a bit boring at this stage. Another type of second screening is what's called dishboarding, and that takes all kinds of extra statistical information about what you're viewing. For example, do you anyone fans here of the Formula One racing cars, they have an app for that. And while the regular race is going on TV, you can watch exactly how much petrol is left in the car, what is the pulse rate of the driver, all this extra information that if you're a real avid listener or Formula One person, you get excited about all that information. So these are called dishboard or side shows. I'm not sure how that would work for a sermon, though, as far as taking the pulse of a pastor while he's preaching. I don't know. But anyway, it's out there as a technology. So a few brands out there that allow you to do this is Umami being one of them, which is more of a CDN that holds all of your content and compares that with what the person is viewing. By the way, a person can be viewing that video not live. It basically listens to the audio track of what's playing on your TV from your device, your second screen, and then tries to sync what media it is and at what time in the media it's playing to render that kind of information. So probably the easiest method that I've found to create a second screen experience would be using a software here that would basically take your regular video file, embed extra information to it, like web pages and so on, and pictures, and even social media, social links, and then output that new video file with all these value-added functionalities in it. The company is called Coincident Create. So here's a little video on how the easiest way to do that.
Coincident Create allows an author to add a layer of interactivity to online video and connect any moment in a video to related content on the web. The result is a tool that offers the potential to add interaction to the wide array of places we find video, from over-the-top internet video players, to Facebook videos, to mobile videos, and all the way to second screen companion apps enhancing interactive storytelling on multiple screens. Here's how it works. Using Coincident Create's built-in web browser, find a video you want to add interactivity to. In one easy step, Coincident Create brings the selected video onto its editing canvas. Now the fun begins. First, pick the point in the video you'd like to mark up. Click plus to mark this time. Now you can add graphics and text that will appear here during playback. Click to add an image. Click the image to add a link. You can link to other videos or web content. Preview the project to see what you've made.
So it's really not that complex to add an extra layer of metadata to your video content that has an extra layer of engagement to your users. Now, at the end of the day, it is not the tools that is key, but it is the content itself. If the content is good, you can drive it for quite a distance. A new trend in how television is moving on is what's called participation TV, where viewers of a show don't just watch it passively, but interact with the content live or at a different time. But could it be that our church could maximize this kind of technology, the whole participation TV? At the end of the day, as I just said, content really is king. It's not the tools to do all these cool things, but if you've got real good content, it goes a long way. So while content is king, the queen is engagement. Thank you for your time.